The Church honors Saint Longinus as a soldier who executed Christ and had a conversion experience at the cross. The legend of Longinus begins with the Gospels. Mark 15:39 tells us, "And when the centurion who stood there in front of Jesus saw how he died, he said, 'Surely this man was the Son of God.'" This theme also appears in St. Matthew. When the centurion and those with him who were guarding Jesus saw the earthquake and all that had happened, they were terrified and exclaimed, "Surely he was the Son of God." But St. Luke is more circumspect. The centurion, seeing what had happened, praised God and said, "Surely this was a righteous man." St. John says, "But when they came to Jesus and found he was already dead, they did not break his legs. Instead, one of the soldiers pierced Jesus' side with a spear, bringing a sudden flow of blood and water." These passages fueled the notion of a Roman soldier, a pagan inured to the cruelest form of execution, experiencing a miraculous conversion at the cross, becoming a missionary, and eventually a martyr. The Gospels don't name the centurion, but the name Longinus is found in the apocryphal Gospel of Nicodemus, a medieval document believed to be from the mid-4th century A.D. In that work, the Jewish high priests Annas and Caiaphas testify that Longinus the soldier pierced his side with a spear. Another 4th century apocryphal work, the Letter of Herod to Pilate, claims that Longinus suffered a horrible punishment for having pierced Jesus. He was condemned to a cave where every night a lion came and mauled him until dawn, after which his body healed back to normal in a pattern that would repeat until the end of time. At first glance, it might appear that Christ, the Lion of Judah, is exacting retributive justice not only for himself, but for Christians whom the Romans had fed to the lions. But it also resembles the legendary punishment of Prometheus, whom the gods had chastised for giving fire to mankind. This is not the only crossover from Roman culture in the Longinus legend. The name Longinus might have been a Latinized form of the Greek word for lance, but the full name given the centurion, Gaius Cassius Longinus, is identical to one of the conspirators who had assassinated Julius Caesar on the Ides of March, 44 BC. Perhaps that's why the Feast of Longinus is celebrated on March 15th. The Golden Legend, a medieval collection of Christian tales, tells us that Longinus was losing his eyesight and that contact with the blood of Christ restored his vision. It was this miracle that prompted his conversion. Legend has it that Longinus left the army, took instruction in the faith from the apostles, and became a monk in Cappadocia. One story claims that Pontius Pilate sent soldiers north to arrest Longinus. They beheaded him and returned the head to Pilate. Another story claims that the governor of Cappadocia had him arrested for destroying idols. The governor had the centurion's tongue cut out, but he miraculously continued to proclaim the gospel clearly. He destroyed several idols in the presence of the governor, releasing demons who blinded the governor. The governor ordered Longinus beheaded, and as his blood came into contact with the governor's eyes, the governor's sight was restored. The lance of Longinus became a holy artifact of the church and is credited with having delivered victory to Christian forces at various times throughout history. But that's a story for another time. For a fast-paced adventure imagining how Longinus came to his moment at Calvary, you're invited to read and enjoy The Lance and the Veil.